After an eventful training journey marred by injury, mental breakdown and getting this close to quitting, finally this weekend all of the lost toenails will be worth it as I run in the Paris Marathon. This is going to be the first marathon I complete, although not the first one I've participated in. We will come back to that later. For right now, I'm still stuck at home in England, so I think it's about time that we get moving. Here's the plan of action. First, we need to drop off Eclair at doggy daycare. Second, get to Paris. 3, se régaler. 4, obviously run the marathon. And 5, celebrate with some wine. So with no further ado, let's get started. Here she comes. She is so excited to go to the dog sitters. Ready? Okay then, go. We're here at the dog sitters. Are you gonna miss me? Because I'm gonna miss you. But you're gonna have such a good time with all the other dogs, yeah? She's so excited. Look at that tail waggling. That is it. Claire is gone. Time for me to head out to the airport too.
Next stop, Heathland Avenue.
Thank you.
La cigarette électronique n'est pas autorisée. Les clients en correspondant.
We made it. I will give you the grand tour. Forewarning, I always stay in like cheaper hotels just because it's expensive when you're on your own, right? To book hotels, especially in big cities. And yeah, we'll do the grand tour. So here is where you come in. I mean, this is it, right? We do have a little wardrobe, which is super nice. You know, spare blanket. Here's our little Juliet balcony. There's the rubbish truck outside going past, perfect timing. Beautiful, nice little bed. And then the bathroom in here. There you go. But I am pretty sure that this is the first hotel that I've ever stayed in that doesn't give you coffee stuff in the room, which is upsetting. All I want is a coffee, but that's fine. That just means that we need to head out. Good morning. I just went to the boulangerie to pick up some coffee and also a croissant, walked out of the shop and immediately held the bag upside down and dropped the croissant on the street. But I went back in to get another one. The lady very kindly gave me one for free and wouldn't let me pay for it. So that was a lovely start to the day. But I wanted to talk a little bit this morning about my training journey so far, and also I mentioned that I'd run it in a marathon but hadn't completed one yet. Oh, also I might speak a little bit softly in this part just because the walls in this hotel are very thin and it's still a little bit early on a Saturday morning, so I don't want to talk too loud. But I have my mic on, so you should be able to hear me. A year and a half ago, I ran in the Richmond Marathon. The training leading up to it honestly wasn't ideal. I was doing a lot of going out at the time. Going out, drinking a lot, and then not being able to do my runs. And so either skipping sessions or just not doing them very well, or, you know, quitting halfway through a training session. I then also, about 3 weeks before the marathon, got an injury in my hip. It had been growing over time. I'd been ignoring it. And it got to the point that it just got really, really bad. So the day of the marathon, it was just, I got to 16 miles, couldn't run anymore. And so I basically limp walked from mile 16 to mile 21, and I got to mile 21 and I was like, this just isn't happening. So I dropped out. Now, even though I was injured, I do wonder if, could I have pushed through? Do you know what I mean? Like, was it partially me just feeling unprepared and like believing that I couldn't do it, and so that made it more easy for me to drop out? Like, I wonder, it plays on my mind a lot. And so it's something that makes me very scared, and I've got a lot of pressure on me for tomorrow because I'm like, that cannot happen tomorrow. I can't let anything stop me. Like, I need to finish it. Under 4 hours would be nice, but I just need to finish to prove to myself that I can do it because of what happened last time. But this training journey has been much different and much better. So I've been using Runner to plan my training journey. Now, I I think this goes without saying because I have 40 subscribers, but this isn't sponsored at all by Runner. But I found it really useful because it just takes the guessing out of it. So I have been doing 4 runs a week. So that's 2 easy runs, which started, I'd say around 5K and then worked up to being about 12K by the end. One like speed tempo session a week. So that would be either hill reps, intervals, or just like a tempo run. And then 1 long run on the weekends. The last long run that I did was 32 kilometers and I did that 2 weeks ago. And then last weekend I just did like a tapered long run. The 32K went really, really well. It felt really easily, which was good because the week before that I did 27K and got very close to giving up. It was so difficult. My nutrition had been really bad that week. My hydration had been really bad that week. And I definitely felt the effect it had because even the first 5 kilometers were really, really difficult, let alone the rest of the 22K. I started crying at like 23K and was like, I can't do this, but I managed to get it finished, thank God. So it felt really good that the next week when I did 32, I made sure that week that my nutrition and hydration was on point and it was much easier and it felt great. So now I feel very positive about the run tomorrow. The other thing is that I got injured about 6 weeks ago. And so it seems to be the same injury from the last marathon. It started in my knee. It's just a little niggle. I ignored it. It got worse to the point that it was the whole of my left leg and into my hip. And I couldn't even stand or walk around without quite a lot of pain. So that was super not ideal. Because it was 6 weeks out, when it got to like the peak, I actually did take time off and rest. I did 1 full week of rest, 1 week of just a couple very, very short runs. And then I slowly like tapered back into the program. And actually, even as I tapered back into the program, it continued to heal and it got better and now I have 0 pain. So who knew that resting it actually helps? You know, they all say this, we all ignore it, but actually it really did help. So now I have no pain in my leg, which is ideal. I'm super happy about that. The only thing besides my brain that I foresee being an issue tomorrow is I've managed to get a blister I mentioned yesterday on the bottom of my foot. So I'm hoping that's not going to be an issue. I'm not giving up. I'm going to finish this stupid marathon if it kills me. But I hope it doesn't kill me because actually this isn't the end of this training journey. The plan that I've got on Runner is not a marathon plan, it's an ultra marathon plan. So in 5 weeks, I'm running the Jurassic Coast Ultra. It's on the south coast of the UK. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be very hilly. Now I'm doing 58 kilometers and I am doing it to raise money for charity for Cancer Research UK. I'll leave the link below to my Just Giving. Obviously there's no expectations, but if you can donate, that would be absolutely lovely. And also on that Just Giving page, it's linked to my Strava, so you can track how my training goes, and I'll put an update on there once I do the run. And that's basically all the highlights of my training journey. It all comes down to tomorrow. For today, I need to go and pick up my bib. So why don't you join me and let's go get the bib. Where you went to pick up your bib, they had a whole exposition going on, which I thought was really cool. So they had a bunch of different places where you could get your picture taken with like the Arc de Triomphe or with a giant medal. They also had this wall of names of everyone who was running the marathon, so you could find your name on the wall. And then it was a lot of different vendors selling different things. So as ASICS was one of the big sponsors of the event, they had a massive area doing run tests of all their different shoes. So you could grab a pair of shoes off the wall and they had treadmills for you to actually try running in them. And then look what I came across. It's the watch that I got scammed trying to buy. I will leave a link to that video if you want to see that story. After that, I took a really lovely walk through Paris. I decided to sign up to go to a comedy show. I really enjoyed going to comedy shows whenever I'm travelling in a French-speaking country because it's a real test of my French. Now, the place doing the show was a 2-hour walk away, and then I decided that I actually wanted to walk along the river so that I could get pretty views. So I ended up walking for 2.5 hours, which probably isn't advisable the day before a marathon, especially I had a blister that had started forming on the bottom of my foot, and this definitely did not help it. So I don't know that I would recommend this, but I did get to enjoy the sights of Paris and it was beautiful weather. And before the comedy show started, I got a little lunch at the venue. It's 5:45 and I just got back to the hotel room. The plan for today had been to fuel up, and I have done the complete opposite. So I spent about 3.5 hours walking, then I've eaten a croissant, a banana, and then that very delicious but not significant enough meal that I had at the comedy club. So the plan of action is I am going to have a quick nap because nothing opens for restaurants for like dinner for an hour anyway. And then once I wake up, I'm going to find somewhere to get maybe like a tomato pasta, something that's very carb heavy but is not too heavy on my stomach. I have secured the bag, aka dinner. I also got some bits for tomorrow, but we will go through that in a minute once we see how this dinner looks. Here is what we've got, which is some lasagna. I'm actually really excited. I love lasagna, but I never have it at home because it's just too hard to make single portions or like portion it out to freeze into single portions. So I'm super duper excited for this. I've just bought my vest for tomorrow just so that I can run through what it is that I run with. I feel like I look a little bit like a policeman. So first of all, I have my water bladder. I always run with water. I do all my training runs with it, so it doesn't bother me to run with it. And I don't like to rely on the aid station, or not the aid stations, but like the water stations, because the run that I did in London that I had to drop out of, they ran out of water at the water stations, and that's like my worst nightmare. So I like to carry water. So this is a bladder of, I think, 1.5 litres. I then also always run with I'd say Lucozade, a Powerade, is what I've managed to find here. I have got 2 of these. Where's it gone? Back. I've got 2 of these, so that I think I'm going to have one before I get there when I'm like on the way to the starting place, and then the other one I will run with me to have during my run. The only really annoying thing is that they don't have sports caps on, and I did check that it is definitely a proper sports drink. I don't know why it doesn't have a sports cap. That's going to be super annoying during the run, but it is what it is. I can't run without Lucozade. Honestly, actually, running long distances, that's the one thing I think that made the biggest difference for me, was having electrolytes with me while I run. And I know it's very, very basic, but the difference that they made before I used to run with them, and then after having them, anytime I go now over like 15K, I'll always make sure that I've got Lucozade with me, and it completely changed it. It's like day and night. It feels so much easier to keep going when you are drinking electrolytes as you go. So there's my tip. The next thing that I got is sweets. I don't use gels or anything like that when I run because they're expensive. And obviously you have to train with them as well because they can be funny on your stomach. So you have to make sure you get used to training with them. So buying them for the training runs and for the real run, I just find it gets so expensive and I don't think it's necessary. So between the Lucozade and then just good old-fashioned sweets, obviously making sure that you get soft ones, that's all that I need for sugar and carbs as I run. It works great for me. Now usually I put my sweets in this little pocket of my vest. This bag is way too big and I couldn't find a smaller bag, so I don't yet have a plan for how I'm going to carry these with me, but we will work it out. And then the other bits I got are just for breakfast because there's nowhere to get breakfast in this hotel, and I think it's going to be difficult to find somewhere tomorrow morning that's open early enough on a Sunday and that's selling like decent breakfast food. You know what I mean? Because I don't want anything that's like really, really heavy, but I just want porridge is what I want, but I can't have porridge. So I've got 2 bananas, this little like Activia yogurt and granola pot, and then half a baguette because we're in France and that's what I could find to get me enough carbs and a little bit of sugar and stuff. So that's it. I mean, we're pretty much ready to go. I very soon am going to head to bed. I'm feeling super nervous. I feel like I just have a lot of pressure on myself. I just really want to finish. I really want to finish in a good time. I just want to do well and I don't want to like suffer the whole time. So I'm hoping that I have prepared well enough for this, that everything's going to go smoothly. But there's nothing more that I can do for now except to rest, get in lots of water, and I will see you tomorrow on marathon day. And that's it, we're on the way. So insanely nervous, my stomach is like going. So I've got my bib on, we're just getting ready to go in to go. It's absolute anarchy, there's people and cars and everything everywhere, but we're ready, I'm so scared.
I go from living to dead. You got me seeing all red. Now I'm becoming a threat. I fucking heard what you said. I'll make you have some regrets. And no, I never forget. So now you have a few debts. That shit, it needs to be paid with blood or some sort of pain. You caused a permanent stain, which has determined your fate. I've never seen so clear. I feel the end and it's near. The day of reckoning's here. The sound of deafening fear. Oh. sitting inside of this vessel. That shit is so exponential. I need a first class ticket to the top, no limit. I don't play no gimmicks. I'ma take you to the clinic. If you want a taste, come at me and you will be replaced. They won't find a trace of you anywhere or any place.
That's what happens. The work starts. $15K left. I'm not gonna lie, I'm beating it. Whose stupid idea was this? I regret every decision that brought me to this point. 5 left. I've appointed to stop something more in my life. I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm facing this test.
Oh, right, she can do it.
I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiation.
We did it.
My way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation.
We did it. I got the medal. That was insanely difficult. Under 4 hours, which is amazing. 3:58:31. I definitely started crying for the last like 10K, and it was honestly, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. It was so difficult. I so wanted to give up. I never even want to hear anyone say the word marathon in my vicinity again. I don't know how I'm supposed to be doing an ultra in 5 weeks or something ridiculous, but we will think about that later. I'm just so happy. There was points there that I was like, I'm not going to finish this. I don't want to do this. What the hell am I doing? I had a little bit of a cry, and yeah, but we did it. Oh, it feels good to be home. As you can see, I'm back home and I am very, very cozy now. It is Tuesday evening, so it's 2 days after the marathon. I was going to do a full recap on how the whole race went, but honestly, I don't think that I need to. I think A, this video is long enough. B, it's kind of very basic, which is that it started very easy, it then got very difficult, but I managed to push through and I managed to finish and I managed to achieve the time that I wanted. So all of that is just to say I'm very proud of myself. Now, there are a couple of things I want to talk about. One is that stupid Powerade. Me and whoever designed that Powerade bottle are gonna fall out big time, because why would you make the opening so big on a sports drink and not just have a sports cap? As I was like running and like trying to drink it, it was all just like splashing up. So I ended up covered in Powerade. I think more went over my face and down me than actually went into my mouth. It was an absolute bane of my life during the run. So yeah, not super stoked about that. The other thing is I kind of unintentionally foreshadowed a few issues during, like, earlier in this video that did end up coming back around, unfortunately. So first of all, I mentioned that I'd had an injury in my left leg that I had taken time off to try and heal from, and I said it was 100% better. That is not the case anymore. My left hip is in enormous pain. Like I say, we're 2 days after, and it's just still, it's really, really bad. Putting weight on it, it hurts a lot. Walking is not great, so that needs to heal. The second thing is the blister on my right foot. Oh, it is not pretty. I would show it, but I think that I would get permanently banned from YouTube and like the internet for showing my blister. It's so gross. And basically it's like on the arch of my right foot, but it like wraps around from the bottom of my foot all the way onto the top. Even describing it is so gross, but it's really, really painful. Thankfully, actually, neither of them were an issue during the race. I didn't notice the pain until after. I assume that's like an adrenaline thing or whatever. And so as I've been like walking around Paris the last 2 days, trying to, you know, enjoy the time that I've got there, I'm like trying not to put pressure on my right foot, so then I'm putting all of my weight on my left leg where my hip is hurting. So all in all, it's just not been a good time. I've been like hobbling back and forth on both legs for the past 2 days. So I'm going to fully rest until they're both feeling better, and then I will start running again to get ready for the ultra, which is only in 5 weeks, so that's super great. But that about covers my Paris marathon journey and me finally completing my first marathon. If you have a race coming up, please let me know what it is down below. If you want to sign up for a race but you haven't done it yet because you feel a little bit scared, you feel like you're not quite ready, honestly, you're never going to feel like you're ready. But I tell you what, there is no better motivation to train than having something in the calendar, so just get it booked. If you've enjoyed this video, obviously please give it a thumbs up. Also, I would love to have you join me on this channel. I like to set myself different challenges, try out new things that I don't necessarily think that I'm going to be good at, so that I can not only enjoy the process, but also prove to myself that I can do more than I think I can. If that sounds like something that would interest you, please do subscribe. Otherwise, get out there and smash those goals.